Then the same people say with no indoda ikushiya iyojola ngaphandle ngoba wena uyinandozi or wena awudunusi.
Hi, my name is Sino. I'm very clingy. Don't expect that we're gonna have whatever that you're gonna have.
Then puff and pass.
Tomorrow,
yeah.
Tomorrow I must just act like I don't have feelings. The minute I become intimate with one guy, it's over for the rest.
Right.
I don't pay attention. Yes. Sex is sex. Desire is desire. Intimacy is intimacy. I was like, that's why people are different.
Do you swallow, Sino?
I actually swallow.
Oh. Tell us about that. Hi everyone, welcome back to Hot Seat with Penzola. It's such a pleasure to have you back. If you tuned in, thank you so much. The question I have for you today is the power of sex being misused as an expression of love? Well, I don't have the answer to that, certainly. But I do have guests that are willing to explore that topic and really let's understand what that is. And I've got Sino. Sino, thank you so much for joining me in exploring and the willingness to want to talk about this topic. Kgomotso, you've become part of the furniture. Do I even need to introduce you? Not at all. So I think I'm going to get right straight into it, right? So is the power of sex being misused as an expression of love? What are your thoughts?
Oh gosh, I think all my failed relationships, my traumas, everything that I've been through in life, because I'm just wired differently on how I view sex. Because I feel like if I would have known from the onset, you never loved me, you were not building something, you were not honest, I couldn't trust you, I couldn't pick up the phone the next day, you couldn't be there for me, I would have put a roadblock on it.
Right.
I would have not gone into it because for me, I view it differently. Because for me, it's like it's an extension of me. I usually say that my private part is like, it's my heart. They're the same thing.
Right.
I've actually learned to accept it, that it's something I've grown up with. I've sort of tried to explore other ways. Maybe I can chat, you know I'm a single woman. So sometimes you get to chat with guys or whatever. But the minute I become intimate with one guy, it's over for the rest.
Right.
I don't pay attention. Yes.
Halala.
So I have this thing that I've always said growing up about walala na windoda yam.
Yo. Walala now siyamthanda.
We're building.
So ithini ke into yakho when you discover that mawulele naye there's love?
So I've discovered that. So now I had to be vocal because I've actually learned that men are very outspoken in the beginning.
Yeah.
They're very outspoken. So for me, I'm unable to be sexually attracted to someone unless there's an emotional connection. The energy. I'm all about energy. I'm all about energy. Sometimes it's like, even how do I feel about it after I've had it? Sometimes I'm in a good vibe, mental sharp, and then afterwards I'm like, boom, done. So for me, it has everything to do with my energy. It's like I'm putting out a part of me. It's like I'm putting up a part of me. And so with that comes that as I get older, I needed to put in, I couldn't be like a default. When a guy asked me out, I just assumed that the guy wants a relationship. So in instances, for me, the guy I end up going out with, rest for sure, I'm tired.
Sure.
There's something about him that is like, I'm Bamba, you're like, I just, So if I find myself in that spot, I realize, but I am attracted to this guy. There is something that is pulling me towards him. So he might not want a relationship. You understand? Because he's a man. So now, this is what I do. I go like, hi, my name is Sino. I'm very clingy. Don't expect that we're going to have whatever that you're going to have.
Then puff and pass.
Tomorrow I must just act like I don't have feelings. Like I must just act like, for me, if you touch my private part, it is your Like I have not been unable to separate that, and I envy people who are able to do that. Because I asked a friend of mine, a close friend of mine who's a guy, I was like, the way he explained sex, he was like, sex is sex, desire is desire, intimacy is intimacy. I was like, that's why people are different. For me, sex is all of those things. I need to feel all of those things.
So you've never had a one-night stand?
I cannot say no because the one that I had ended up being my baby daddy. We were in a relationship for 4 years. Would you say it's a one night stand if it's someone you knew and then on the first date you sort of like?
Okay, but you've known the person. My definition, I don't know what your definition of one night stand is, but my definition is I don't know you now wherever and we go and we do it.
I've never.
So if you've known the person, you've chatted to the person, you almost, I mean, even even with a friend, I'm not sure if we can call that a one night stand. But yeah, I mean, someone else could have a different opinion out there. Yeah.
We've known each other prior, we were friends, and then we would say that the first time we were behind closed doors, things happen.
So, but what I'd like to then explore further from your answer, Sino, is that, interesting enough, one of the other conversations I had about sex was, here's a woman who is single, who's not looking for a relationship, but she wants sex because it's a need. It's for the flesh, right? So she can separate. She doesn't have to love you. Off, done. Call me, don't call me, whatever. You, on the other hand, are saying, I'm giving myself, to you. You are touching my private, you are touching my heart, So, and how do you then, because with the other lady when I was chatting to her, I mean, Kgomotso, you remember, she mentioned how she leads that interaction. She leads the sex, she wants it, she determines it. How do you then lead this interaction in your feeling, in your intimate, in your loving, in giving yourself? Because you meant, and the reason I'm asking this, you say upfront, I'm clingy. For me, that's a negative word, right? You're saying I'm clingy. Already you coming there understanding that this guy might just want to tap and go. So you are declaring, which means you are not about to tap and go, buddy. So how do you then navigate through that?
How do I navigate? Because I say I'm clingy.
No, not just clinginess.
I understand why clingy would come across as being a negative word, but for me, I've never approached sex where there was no connotation of relationship. Sometimes I would say to people, yeah, maybe he says it's friends with benefits, but I'm getting all the benefits of a relationship. When I need him, he's there. He calls me every day. So for me,
it's a relationship.
You are when I hear clingy because I'm not.
Ula.
It's not a one-off thing because before we get into it, I've been trying to determine my energy. You understand? It's not even a sense of like I go out and I decide. I leave it up to the universe. Like I could come in here and then I have a vibe with someone. Do you understand? It's not like I'm thinking, oh, for me, I treat being horny as part of being alive. But when I'm in a relationship, when I have someone, I'm like, you have to fulfill that. But if I'm not in a relationship, it's a part of I feel alive. I feel like I masturbate if I need to. But for me, the fact that I'm horny does not mean now I need to take someone. I don't feel any connection with it because I feel like I can't make you temper my energy. You understand? But I also say that when I say that, I have to highlight that it's a person I'm becoming, because at first I thought that it's not okay to tell a guy that I'm clingy, that I'm whatever. But I've learned that men, in the beginning, you can ask anything. But if you wait, because they've got their different intentions, our souls, you by the time you find out, your emotions will be too invested, but in the beginning, when the person tells you, you don't feel like you are manipulated into love.
Because we are upfront and stuff.
No, I'm very upfront.
Yeah. Kgomotso, your thoughts on what Sino's saying around how she views the act of sex and how it links for her with love and your thoughts on that? And I'm sure you hear a lot of this expression in your sessions. Yeah.
I think it's like with anything. For me, there's no right way or wrong way. I mean, it's who she is. This is her. We cannot say, but no, it's the old way of thinking. Change that, be something you're not. That's who Sino is. That's what, for her, sex and love, sex and love and relationships, they're all one and the same thing. It's one thing. You can't have one without the other
For her.
And I like that she's saying, now she's upfront. You know, where there's communication, a lot of things can be avoided, misunderstandings.
Because upfront.
She's honest from the beginning to say, listen, Mina, I'm not take away. You can't just...
I'm not your snack.
Yeah, I'm not a snack.
Yeah.
If you are here, if me and you, we get naked.
See on.
It's a relationship. So the guy, I just wish people learn to be more honest. You know, but people have this thing which, I must lie in order to get what I want. Tell the truth, you'll actually get more than what you expected. You know, tell the truth. If I honestly when I get from a relationship shame. Mina, all I wanted was just so let's... You might be surprised. You say to Lalela, I'm looking for a serious thing. If we stick together, this is what it means. Now, like, oh, God, I've been waiting so long to meet somebody just like this. This is what I've also wanted. Because, mind you, we live in this world where people, it's uncool to actually want commitment. It's for whites, you know, it's uncool. It's like, no, live your life, you must fast.
I'm tired and fast. Yeah.
There are still men out there who also want exactly what Sino wants. It's just that now because we don't communicate, we all going around assuming all men are the same, and they're not. Which is, and it's unfair to
generalize.
So it's good that she's owning her needs. Be upfront with your needs. If unfortunately you have to go 10 people but I didn't number 11.
Yeah. Let's take it back to what you said in the beginning about how the power of sex and the expression of love has been the core reason of your failed relationships. I want to understand that. Is it because of, what she said about the person commits because he wants what he wants, is horny, we are here, and then later changes the commitment? Or is it because of the sex itself? Where do the wheels come off?
I think it was, I would get myself in a position where there was a vibe, we're attracted, you're spending time with the person, and you sort of assume that something is cooking and you are not vocal about where this thing is going. And also, we live in an era where a guy will do all those things that are seeming as love, but other in areas where this is what he's gonna get at the end. I think what made my failed relationships was because I just assumed, just because you give me good whatever and I'm coming,
good sex, you mean?
If I connect with you that much sexually, only to realize he's just good in bed. You understand? So I've actually sort of able to separate that just a guy, because a guy is a passionate kisser, has nothing to do about we have time or whatever. It's how he makes you feel and how he treats you. And so I say those things up front, and I think most men are not willing to sit around and take you on dates if you've made it clear that you don't want anything that's gonna move on to something else. If you're not gonna be there for me emotionally, like I use the word that you have to feed onto my emotional needs other than sex. There's gonna be time where I'm gonna need you to cuddle. I need to have access with you. I need to be able to say, today I had a bad day. I just want someone to hold me. For me, I feel violated if I have someone I'm having sex with and I can't get those things from. And I feel like, why you can't give me that and I'm giving you my body? But that's how I am.
Sure.
For some people, it's a different case.
Yeah, it is.
Sex, you get what you get. And for me,
for you, it's different.
I need to feel protected and trust and all of those things. So I watched one of the episodes and I was so intrigued. I wanted to know, because I love how she separates sex, the act, from everything. I wanted to know, hasn't she ever found herself? And then she realized, I want him back. Like I don't want to. Like,
she actually likes the guy.
Don't want, because I feel like it's actually a superpower to separate the both.
It is. That's actually quite powerful what you're saying, because there's a part of you that is clear and owning the emotions that are linked to sex. You don't just, you don't just like let the person touch your private without touching your heart. And that's, you, like you said, that's quite powerful in her owning that. But I also sense that there's an element of her that does want the ability to separate that. And perhaps it's vice versa. Perhaps, you know, my previous guests that you're referring to, while she's quite clear and bold around making those things, there may also be a need for her to, because she did actually, I now remember she did actually speak about some intimacy that's involved in the action. So you're not totally off, but it's just about how you navigate it for you, because when you want the kiss on the forehead, you want the hug, and I don't know, if I don't think all men are like that. I mean, I'm sure you found men like that, and which leads me to the next question around how, when you found, in whatever relationships you had, and you did find that. How was it like? Was the emotional working support more satisfying than the activity itself? Because we're talking about sex, but for me, it's deeper for you. So were there times where you are not having sex for a while and you're okay with it?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay, talk to me about that.
No. I mean, it's weird because whoever I'm connected to, I must have that element of I want to jump them all the time.
Want to jump them, and you jump them.
Maybe I don't know, because they say everything is traumatic, whatever. Maybe I have angled my sexual desire with my emotions that way. But for me, whoever I feel that connection, emotional, whatever, trust you me. Even closest of my friends, they know that I get a lot of sexuality because I love talking about sex. I love, like, I'm so open about sex and to women and stuff. So it's not something that I shy away from talking about it.
So are you open to your partners as well? I mean, with the emotional connection, it must be easier for you to express how you want it, how you want to jump them, when they want to jump you. So are you?
Like,
And what's the response?
Today.
What's the response?
I want you to take it out. He sends me a picture of the reaction.
I can only imagine what the reaction is, guys. So I want to come back to Kgomotso, and wow, I'm loving these conversations. I want to come back to you around, for me, you always refer who people are, their mental state, and how that now also impacts the sex. We have a lot these days, and I don't know whether it's because we are much more comfortable talking about depression, or it's because it's like an in thing now. We are failing to differentiate between the actual depression and just the level of anxiety that we have as a society, right? So either way, I want to ask, I understand from you, so if somebody is officially diagnosed with depression or anxiety, how does that impact their sex life? And I mean, if they're married, obviously it impacts them, their body and everything else, but it also impacts their spouse. If they're single and she might have a person at the time that she's sleeping with, that might also, I don't know what your thoughts are. Is there a link between being formally and being on medication of depression and the sex?
Yeah, your mental health, your mental wellness, it affects a lot of things in your life, including your sexual
drive.
Your sex drive, how much you want it, when you want it, if you even want it. So depression is characterized by, there's your low mood, you basically, and you also lose interest in things that previously gave you joy. You have no interest in it. So it can happen that when you are clinically depressed, you are diagnosed with a depression, one of the things to go is your sex life, because you cannot be bothered. And it's not for it's intentional, just physiologically you're not reacting. Your body is not doing what it's supposed to do. You just want to sleep all the time. You are not there, not just, you're not there physically for the people who are around you. You're not available emotionally for people, the people around you, the people who love you. And there's levels to depression. You've got your mild, you've got your moderate, you've got your very severe depression. So it's not to say just because now you're diagnosed with depression, you will not want sex. It depends on how the depression is showing itself up within you. And then if you're on medication, some medications side effect, libido goes. It happens. So that's why then, if you are put on medication, it's important to talk to your doctor. Talk to your psychiatrist to say, listen, I've noticed I'm not wanting. I want to.
In my head somewhere,
I feel
yes.
it. I look at him, I think about it, but when he touches me, nothing is happening. Maybe it's the mess, then we need to change. Is the dosage? Is it the type? We need to change the medication. What is it? Must we adjust it? It's possible to still eventually get back into it, but you have to do that in consultation with your physician. You can't just decide, oh, no, I'm depressed, therefore.
Thanks for that, and I know it's unrelated to what we're talking about with Sino, but I think some of these are some of the things that pop up as we talk about sex, because we talk about everything else when it comes to mental health and the impact of mental health in other parts of our areas, but I've never really had a conversation around how that impacts sex. And the fact that we're talking about sex, I just saw an opportunity to ask that. So, I want to come back to you. Where are you now? In terms of relationship-wise, are you having lots of sex? What type of sex are you having, right? So there's different types. I mean, I'm not a specialist there, but talk to us about that and how's it going now? And you have got an opportunity. Remember, this is
going to go out in the media.
Of course, it's going to go out in the media. But I mean, let's take the opportunity of having a professional right there next to you, free therapy. She's obviously helping all of us understand this monster, not necessarily a monster, but this beautiful topic of sex and just understanding ourselves. So where are you? Talk to us about your sex life.
I think that's all that I'm going to say. I'm in the era where I come in the room and you're talking and then someone says, sit on my face. That's the era I'm in.
Wow. And you sit on the face.
Yes.
Okay. And you do other things.
Yes, of course.
And I asked my previous guest this question in one of the episodes around their body and their comfortability of their body. How does that impact you? Are you comfortable to just rip off that dress and you're clearly sitting on someone's head or someone's face? So how does that feel for you? Because that also, as your body changes, where you used to be sexy one day and then now there's potholes. Well, we call them that, and then there's spring rolls.
I think for me, my love for my body has evolved over the years.
Right.
I think I will always put it back to when I was in varsity, and I would see how a guy would go from dating a skinny girl and dates a buffy girl, and then I had a friend who's very beautiful, nicely built. So the ex had moved on, and so we had seen the ex somewhere we had gone out, and then she's describe the girl for me. And I was like, friend, it's not about that.
Yes.
Man, I ain't like that. So I think as I get older, I actually realized, man, I'm not all about this. This is all for you. As long as you feel confident, he's just taking whatever that you're dishing on the table. But I think for me, self-love has evolved. It's not every time that I felt I just want to be naked. But it takes from the relationship that you have, from taking pictures for him, sending him pictures. Even sometimes I take pictures of myself. You love your body. I love my body. I love my body now. I'm not going to love it when I lose a bit of whatever. The only thing I can do, I can stay in the gym, making sure that
Yeah.
But other than that, I love my body. And I think also I also gravitate towards people who love a certain part of my body. You can't go and date a man who likes bums but no shrub.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's either I go for guys who like thick women, who like legs. Then when I show my legs, it's So So it's
Now yazi yambona.
already
Ujima vuke.
yeah, already has given me a license that okay, I'll show you my body. I'll show you the rest of it.
Yeah.
So it's evolving over the years. It has changed. It's not every time where I feel no. Now I even want to see him walking around naked. That's who I am. Like why are you crying? Like I want to see you.
So you don't switch off the lights.
No.
There was
yes,
actually
switch off the lights because it's nice, but I'm not. For me, I'm not hindered by the darkness. If it's dark because the but if the lights are on, then
The
it's
lights
okay.
are on.
Then it's okay.
So do you swallow, Sino?
I actually swallow.
Oh, tell us about that. What is it? Okay, I mean, I'm asking, not for me, for a friend somewhere.
Let me
What
tell
does
you
it taste
this,
like?
let me tell you this: you become a different beast to every person that you connect with sexually.
Okay.
I've never swallowed. I don't like swallowing. I don't like anything. But you would meet someone. Somehow, a certain part of you gets resurrected. You understand?
This is swallowish.
Yes, you are swallowish.
Yo, girl. Yo.
But
It's a very intimate thing to do.
yeah,
Just swallow.
Nay.
yeah.
That's intimacy, right? That says something about your partner. Because remember, that ish doesn't taste the same across the board.
Ke a gopola no bua ka
Yeah.
di-pineapple.
Yes, so if a person takes care of themselves and are clean and tasty,
Tasty,
going, you swallow, but then there's others you're just like,
Wow.
So, yeah. That's
Yo,
very
okay. Wow. So I want us to be a bit real, and this might be offensive to someone watching, but I mean, I have to ask this, right? So there's different bodies and shapes and sizes, and sex with a different body and shape and size, there are technicalities that come with that, right? So, yeah, I don't know if I should ask this question, but I remember I had a conversation with this friend of mine, and she liked skinny guys, but she was big. She was very big. And one of the reasons the last relationship kind of fizzled out is because the guy, I think he didn't really mean to say it, but he just blurted it out. Uyamsinda. Like, you know, because she likes being on top, but when she is, we are keeping in. So, uyamsinda. So, how do you encourage such conversations, Kgomotso, as a professional? Because someone, clearly this thing of umsinda was a thing, and then it triggered one day, and then he said it, and she got upset. But even though when we talk about it, she says, "Maravele ngikhona mngani uyangibona now." So she knows it.
Yeah.
But so just the reason of breaking up for me was useless. This is something; it's a fact. So all we needed to do is probably change how we have our sex. So how do you coach?
The question then is, when did he say it? Did he say mid-act? Was she on top of him when he's...
No, she wasn't. He said it. Yeah, he said it.
Did he say it, was it outside of the bedroom, or did he say it after? Where was the sex act? Was it during? Okay, it's not. You said it's not.
No, it's not. But does it really matter if it's during or after or outside? Okay.
Because if he says it's during, come on. Why don't you let me get up here and then now you say this? Like, no. And then if it's immediately after, how rude. That's just my feeling.
Okay, let's assume it was said.
Conversations like this, you have them outside of the bedroom. And literally not after we've just had a sex marathon all night and then in the morning you tell me, hey, I've been 90, but by the way, I'm seeing.
Okay, Mara, when is the right time?
When we're in a good space, we just loving on each other, we're sitting, we're watching TV, we're just talking about life in general, like, hey,
Mara, now you are seeing that.
No, like, hey, baby, no, not just like that. Like, hey, sex life, it's the bomb, diggity bomb, but hey, love. Hey, the positions. I know you like to be on top, but can I ask?
Peaches
you just get a bit heavy. I'm not saying don't do it. Maybe can we do it less? Okay, you're not going to talk for so long.
Or I will say,
can you do another position? That time the person is in the mood to listen.
So, Sino, I mean, you spoke about how you ride, and you're always ready to jump and, you know, do the things that make the pots, right? So how do you ever get feedback on your sexual performance? And if you do, and there's a need for improvement, what do you do to improve?
Yeah, it's very tricky because, you know, I think that any man when he's about to come, he will say thank you, umnandi, whatever. So I don't know if it's because I am, but you know, it's just that's I won't call that as a feedback because anything a person says, a climax or a cloud nine, I don't know. I've never been told Uguti otherwise I'm bad. I've never been told. I've always been told about okay, umnandi. That's it.
But during the climax, so not outside of climax.
Yeah, not outside.
Yeah. When do you ever say during climax uthi umnandi yena?
Yes.
So amnandi vele.
Yes. I don't say things I don't mean. I feel.
But why do you then think that they don't mean what they're saying about umnandi when during climax?
Because maybe umnandi, but also because for sometimes for men, sex is very mechanical. It just feels good for now.
Yeah.
But for me, I'll probably have goosebumps just thinking about the feeling that I got. I don't know if men have that. Like.
Look, we can ask one of my production guys, and to get a perspective of men. I mean, it's a pity that I'm really struggling to find a man who is willing to sit here. But one of the guys, you know, the crew, maybe should ask you what your thoughts are in terms of what she just said. Is the sex mechanical? Is it just mechanical, or are you emotionally attached?
It goes both ways.
What do you mean?
We can go attached and non-attached. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have the ability to just like be mechanical, and sometimes.
Like she said, we have superpowers. We're able to separate and put this here and this and this. Yeah. So it depends. So,
but who do you connect with? You certainly are not emotional beings, are you? Like, do you find that you operate more in the disconnect part and just sex being mechanical, and there are few of the women you have sex with that you really connect with and emotionally attached, or what's the balance? Give me the ratio.
Please elaborate.
What I mean is you have the ability to disconnect and just have sex, puff and pass.
Okay.
You also say you have the connection to be attached and emotionally connected. I'm saying, what is the ratio? So generally as women, we know ourselves. We know that we are emotional beings. We generally want to attach and feel connected before, you know, and the ratio is much higher on the emotion side than where you disconnect. I'm asking for you guys, where's the ratio? Is it higher on the mechanical side where you just puff and pass to come out grandy, or is it higher on the emotional attachment?
I think we're different. Yeah, but I don't want to talk for other people, right? With me, I can actually be committed to one person, right? If I have sex with that person, I'm attached to that one person. But I can go and have sex with 20 women without being attached or anything. I just want to have an each. I just want to scratch them. Yeah.
Okay, so the ratio is quite high.
Yeah.
You say? Usha.
No comment.
Okay, we got a no comment there, but at least thanks, brother, for that contribution. And I'm now going to give you an opportunity to, you know, what's the one question you've always wanted to ask a professional? As somebody that loves talking about sex, as you said earlier on, you're not shy, you are out there. The fact that you're sitting here is that you love the topic. Here's a professional, ask her any question, mahala.
I've always been interested to know if, like, the way you've been brought up, does it affect in how you view sex and how you engage to sex? Because I come from a staunch Christian background, born again, blood washed, and at some point, my father believed that ngizobona ubhuti andibizele emission, you know. But at the back of my mind, I knew there was no way. Like I still had that aspect that I needed to know the person. But would that have shaped me in how I view sex? Even though as a church girl, I knew there was no way let's get married, and that was only going to be the first time ever it's going to be an encounter. I was not for that. But how I view sex as something, as a covenant. I view as something to build. I view it as giving myself, like the words I use, giving myself. I use it as an extension to myself.
The way we are raised and the way we are socialized, it definitely does impact how we view sex and our overall general attitude towards sex and just life in general. If you grow up in a Christian home where you're told sex is a sin, sex out of marriage is a sin, if you even so much as hold hands with a guy before you are married, you're going to go to hell. Of course, that's going to impact you. That's going to shape what you think about sex. But then that does not negate, or you might just become a teenager, then you start to rebel. Because that's what happens most. You find children who are raised that way, they tend to rebel against the norm. Yes, this is what they were told growing up. You wait until you get married, but then the more we learn, because we live in a technological world, there's information at our fingertips. They read, they hear things from their friends, so then they start to question, and then you make those decisions where, you know what, yes, I know this is what they say, but my research tells me there is no such thing. So what am I going to do? I'm going to lose my virginity. I'm not going to wait for no man to marry me. I'm going to do it. So it can go either way. Some, yes, it scars them that badly that just the idea of actually being intimate with anyone scares them. And for some, it's that it pushes them to say, you know what, I'm going to go find out for myself. I'm not going to just take other people's words for it. I want to know. I must know for myself. So it can go either way. It depends on the individual, but yes, definitely the way you are raised will impact your overall view on sex and the kind of sex you get to have as an adult.
Yeah, I must say it is true, because it's funny, and what I've also seen is, you're told not to have sex before marriage, right? Hambisonto, Christian tonton, and let's say you don't have sex and you follow the rules. You are not a Thomas, you don't research, you then marry the guy from church. Then on one of the sermon umfundisi athi, yeah, aba mama wasekhaya mawushadile umdunusele ubaba yabo ungamncinci. And now I'm thinking, how do you switch from no sex before marriage to dunusa ungamncinci? Like, does anyone transition you? Is there a class somewhere la abazothi, okay, udunusa kanje, or what's the story? I think we've got to be very careful not to, it's like the left doesn't know what the right is doing. I can't be raised and conditioned in this way. Then masengifaka ring ba keep inkomo sekumele ngube ngijampe. Ngijampa kanjani ngazi?
We are flicking the bed.
Yeah, like where, how?
How?
Right? Yeah. So I think you're absolutely right. We need to be very careful how we feed and condition. And yet, then the expectation, is that now we must all shadile. Then the same people say, "With no indota ikshiya iyo chola ngaphandle ngoba wena uinandos or wena awudunusi." And during that time, mabagiyala baglo ekamereni lapho before uhamba uyoshada. It's a one-liner. Ubaba, and it's in riddles. Ubaba ngalali ngendlala. Okay. Uzopheka ipapa wena usije uthi yile ndlala abakhuluma kanti yabo, then the same guy akushiyo ngoba awudunusi or ufaka ifull bhahaza awufaki iphentele lace yabo. So so some of these conditioning and teachings must come with, now move me from here to there. It's like you want me to get to Durban, but I don't know how to get to Durban, where all my life you've told me never to go to Durban. Right? So, but I'm just saying, and it's really what we're seeing, and it's what, and I think this is why we're having these conversations, because whilst we don't want to, I certainly will have difficulty starting these conversations with my daughter. I mean, she's currently 9. So it's coming. I must gear up for that conversation, because I'm not going to be threatening her to say, hey, no sex before marriage or whatever. But there is a level of education. So give enough information for people to make their own choices, understanding that each choice comes with a consequence. And for me, it's as simple as that. So in season 4, I have more support than I did in all the other seasons. And you know, some people just want to tag along and watch us talk and have this conversation. I do want to give one person from my supporters to ask a question, which either of you, and once we've taken the answer, then we can wrap up, ladies. I think it was a quite fruitful conversation.
So I'm really loving this conversation, and actually in the end you touched on something that I guess we don't discuss it as much, is that so if you're raised in, I guess, as a church girl, what advice would you then give to the other church girls? Because there's a lot of them, and to be frank, a lot of churches are not going to have this discussion publicly because it is taboo, and I guess from a sense they don't want to be seen as Umamfundis is giving advice about how to tunusa to this girl that's not getting married. But women are going to face this when they get to marriage, because more fear can so your leg must go places that you don't even know about if you haven't been exploring. From what advice would you then give to that girl that has now found herself married, or even not married, she's deciding, okay, I want to explore. How do they learn? Who do they ask? What are the resources that are available for them to make it a pleasurable experience, so that it's not a, saying line again, oh, I've been waiting for this, and they're disappointed, or they don't know what to do?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think I briefly touched on that. For now, we are living in a technological age. There's information at our fingertips. There's the internet. Research, go online, look up, what do I do when it comes to sex? What does sex look like? That's where you start. And then now there's groups, online chat groups, probably there are chat groups for church girls who also want to know what to do. Find those groups, you know. Talk to someone. There's organizations that are out there that are women friendly. You can go and ask and see a therapist. See somebody like me. I'll talk to you. I don't mind talking. I don't mind telling you what it's like. I'll tell you what to expect. So it's basically that thing. It's just they need somebody who's willing to open up. And if your community is not willing to, then you make your own community. You find people who are not shy to tell your born. The first time might suck. It's not always great the first time. But this is what you do after that to change that narrative. This is how you can make it better. Here are the resources. This is the site you can go to. Here are the books you can buy. There's information galore. It's just not to be scared to actually, don't let that indoctrination or that condition that you have also keep you from actually going and finding those resources. Because I understand sometimes there's also that fear. Well, me just going online and typing up and looking up sex, I'm gonna ban somewhere. So it's about getting them past to say it's okay. Nothing bad is going to happen to you because you're doing this for yourself and for your partner.
Anyway, ladies, thank you so much for chatting to me. It's been such a wonderful conversation, really, really insightful and an exciting conversation. And I look forward to many more of these types of conversation. I mean, where would I be with these conversations without your professional guidance and help? And Sino, thank you very much. Yeah, guys, I think, every other conversation I have around this topic, it becomes more insightful, it becomes more exciting. But I think just for me, the key takeaway is be who you are. There's no right or wrong. If emotional attachment is who you are and you have a particular way of how you like to be sexed or how you like to jump on someone, really just be yourself, like Sino likes jumping. But if you don't, and if you can detach and you can have a one-night stand, it's really just about you and what you want. And as long as it's done in a safe way, you can protect yourself, and it's really not something that you are being forced to do. Yeah, go for it. Have fun, enjoy it, and it's been real. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Ask any questions that you have. I will definitely get Sino and Kgomotso to answer your questions. If you do want to see a therapist, Kgomotso's here, and her contact details on the screen. It's been a real thing, guys. Cheers for now. We are still on the sex I mustn't actually say episode, because then what if I decide to, yabo?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
To say we still discuss.
Listening song. Mangan. Okay. Ang namalaya min. Okay.
We need another camera, okay?
Mawuketa lapho ntando kanti njani?
Oh, I need to take this.
No, blooper vele, sure. But now I've moved on there. Hey? I'm on to something else.
You're too fast for my night.
Get on with it now. Just say Penzola. Okay, let's close off.